So, for those of you that are familiar with this game, you know that this game is extremely linear. Oh, and looks like we're off. And the first thing they're going to do, they're going to talk to this teacher who's going to tell them they need statues 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 2 is Sky Garden with Viper, and they get an ability in this very first dark space. It's very nice.
Whoa.
Yeah, look at that. 3 is the vampires in Mew. 4 is Sandfanger in Great Wall. Slider early on, solarcell007 is pounding his keyboard right now because he's very not happy to see that. Psycho Slider means there's a lot of cool speedrunning tricks that you're not able to do now. So early Slider is actually not the best thing. All right, our runners, by the way, are solarcell007. He's an established speedrunner of this game. And then we also have Neomatamune, who is kind of a co-developer of this game as well. He's been working on, especially lately, getting some new things into the randomizer. But they're just going through South Cape here, which is where you start the game, and they're gathering the 4 items that they need. And oh yeah, the 5th Mystic statue is Mummy Queen in the pyramid. So they don't need to fight Castoth and Inca, and they don't need to do the Babel Climb or fight Solid Arm in the secret dungeon. Already we have Solar leaving South Cape. This is open mode, by the way. In the normal game, the game is very linear. And so the way we handled it in the randomizer is you have items that open up your travel to different continents. There are 5 continents in the game, and so there are 5 items that help you access the different places in the game. In open mode, everything is available to you right from the top. And so in some ways, it's easier because you have access to a lot more towns and a lot more items right off the bat. In some ways, it's harder because you may be required to dip early into late game dungeons that you wouldn't necessarily have access to in a normal run of this randomizer. So we'll probably see them go visit a lot of these towns. Right now they're in Frisia, which is in the southeast continent, which is the second place you'd normally go. They're going to talk to this laborer right here to prove that they are in fact bad people. If you rat out that escaped laborer to shady guy here in the alley that SolarCell is talking to, then he gives you an item. And if you're going to do 100% of this game, you actually are required to rat out that guy. So yeah, Will's body count is kind of high in the vanilla game.
Another ability
in Frisia. Let's see what this is going to be. So the way this works is spin dash. There we go. We have all the Will abilities that we need. So there are 6 abilities, 6 special moves in this game. 3 of them are Will, who you see right here. He gets Psycho Dash, which we haven't seen yet. That's the first ability you can get, but at this point it's largely useless because anything Psycho Dash can do can be done by Slide, which they got in South Cape, or Spin Dash, which they got here. So they've gotten everything they need from for Will. You also have 3 abilities for Freedan, which is another combat form that you can turn into in dungeons. You get Dark Friar, you get Aura Barrier, which is largely useless, and you get Earthquaker, which is also largely useless. And so they'll be checking dark spaces, and they have been, to find out where those are, because those are randomized throughout the map as well. What else is randomized in this game? Of course, item locations. There are roughly, I think, 112 items in the item pool. 45 of those are red jewel items. Red jewels are kind of like your currency in the game, in that you can turn them into the jeweler who shows up in various locations, and he has 6 items at various levels of red jewels you turn into him, and it's kind of cool. You get to see those right off the bat. You can just look at his inventory and you know what he's going to give you. And if you give him all 50, or in the case of the randomizer, it's a randomized value between 36 and 50, you can go to his secret mansion, and there's an item there. And you can also fight the secret boss, which gives you access to Statue 6, which is not needed for this seed. All right, so I'm trying to keep up with where these runners are going, trying to explain everything as well as see where they are. We have a little bit of divergence. We have SolarCell going to Watermia to pick up some items. And we have Neo staying in the southeast continent and dipping into Diamond Mine. He has Spin Dash, and so that means he's able to full clear the first wing of this dungeon. So he's probably just doing that real quick, getting some... getting some quick items and trying not to die. Using spin dash to rescue this guy. Let's hope he doesn't get... Oh, he's going to get trolled here. Watch this. Nothing he can do to avoid that. That's unfortunate. And now we have Solar dipping into Angel Village. Because he has Slider, he can actually clear this place out. At the end of this is a dungeon, and at the end of this dungeon, there's these series of puzzles. Ishtar the Painter is back there, and he has these rooms where... I call it the Highlights boss. Anyone remember Highlights magazine? Yeah, anybody who has visited a dentist office in the 90s
I am in
knows
fact
about...
old enough to remember Highlights magazine, yes.
Yes, indeed. Highlights magazine. Goofus and Gallant. Top-notch writing right there. So anyway, so it's Find the Differences is this game. And we were able to randomize those differences. That's nice. So there's a set of four... There's 4 sets of rooms. 2 rooms in a set where you can look at what the differences are. And there's like 7 or 8 roughly different things that a seed could choose to be different. So the runners in the vanilla game, they know exactly what the differences will be. But here in the randomizer, they do have to kind of pay attention a little bit. Oh, so we have a Freedan ability on Neo's side that he found in Diamond Mine. He's hoping that this is Dark Friar, because that's really... Yes, it is! Alright, so we're going to have a lot of the abilities found early in the seed. Again, Dark Friar is pretty much the only really useful ability.
That's it. Yeah, they don't need to check any more dark spaces. Well, Neo doesn't.
It depends. Yeah, it depends.
Silver's going to go a very long time without the Friar at this point.
Yeah, assuming he doesn't go back to the Southeast continent for a while, which I imagine he'll probably hit up some of the towns first. Now, it does depend on the runner's level of comfort with certain skips. You certainly don't need Aura Barrier in this. If you have Dark Friar, wadoo. But there's actually one use for Earthquaker. If you have Dark Friar, it is possible to skip the one use for it, but it does take a little bit of skill and practice. And I don't know if Neo is comfortable with that or not. So depending on where Neo is with that, we may see him maybe go for some other stuff. Actually, he's skipping it. So if he keeps going through this dungeon, he would get to check 2 more dark spaces. But he's noping out. He's done. So that tells me that perhaps he is comfortable with that Earthquaker skip. All right, we have Solar Cell here on the left, taking on the Highlights boss. That's a red jewel. If there's a red jewel in this case, then you'll see a change in the room. I don't see one, so it's just something different. Yep, it's the Magic Dust, which is nice to find. We talked earlier about what it takes to face Dark Gaia. You have to find 4 statues in this seed, but you also need to rescue Kara. Kara, in the lore of this game, is the Light Knight, whereas Will is the Dark Knight. And so when you combine, when Wonder Twin's powers activate and they combine, they unlock the Firebird attack, and that's what makes it possible for you to fight Dark Gaia. And so in order to beat the game, you have to free Kara from... she's imprisoned inside of a painting. In the vanilla game... Oh, and we'll find out where she is. She's in the Diamond Mine. So we'll be seeing Samlet for this seed, which is lovely. The reason I know that is because Neo just found Lance's letter, and Lance's letter happens to spoil which dungeon Kara is in. She can be in one of 5 minor dungeons. There are 5 dungeons that don't have mystic statues, but she can be at the end of one of those. And it's a Diamond Mine for this seed. So when they find the Magic Dust, which Solar has in Angel Dungeon, and when they go to the end of Diamond Mine, which requires 3 keys, the elevator key and both mine keys, then they can go and they can rescue Kara and set one of the flag conditions for beating the game and going to the final boss. All right, so where we are now, we have Neo still on the Southeast continent. He's now doing the major dungeon on that continent. This is where Statue 2 is found. This is the Sky Garden. Shoutouts to Mr. Freet. I know that this is his favorite dungeon, or at least it was when he played this casually. We have Solar here standing in line in Euro. So when I said earlier he was stopping by some towns first, it looks like he's sticking to that. This line, by the way, in the vanilla game takes so long. I believe it takes 2 minutes for all these people to move out of line. So we sped that up, so it takes more like 30 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. I haven't really timed it out. But that's one of the quality of life things that we did. New York Rambler, by the way, says Anchor Wat is best. I assume he means the music. I would have to agree with them. Anchor Wat is amazing. The music in this game, shout outs to, I wish I knew the composer's name off the top of my head. I don't. I believe this is the only game that he's ever done. But the music is amazing. Not a bad track in this game. What was I talking about, Raven? I lost my train of thought.
I have no idea.
Oh,
we're all
great.
over the place.
Well, thanks for paying attention. I really appreciate it. I've been hogging the spotlight here. Anything you want to talk about as far as what's been going on so far, or?
I am just enjoying the show and scribbling furiously about what on earth you were talking about, and I have lost track.
Well, I'm a fast talker. Like what's my name? Who's on first?
Nurse.
Someone get a nurse over to Raven Zero. By the way, something I noticed on Neo's screen. Again, if you know this game, you know that if you clear out the room of all enemies, you get some status upgrades. That can either be a health upgrade, a strength upgrade, or a defense upgrade. And again, in the vanilla game, every room pretty much that has enemies in it gives you status upgrades. Because we made this an open world game, we've had to really change how the game is balanced. And that meant stripping out a lot of the upgrades in the game. So only some of the rooms have upgrades. In normal mode, I believe it's 18 rooms have upgrades that you can get. And the way that you find out if you have an upgrade in a room or not is you can hit the start button to look at the map. And if there's a pulsing force icon, then you know that you could choose to clear out that room for upgrades. A lot of times you'll see speedrunners skipping those, because one cool thing about even the vanilla game is that if you beat a boss, every room up to that boss, if you missed any of those upgrades, you get those upgrades when you beat the boss. And so that's how the speedrunners typically do it. They skip a lot of the room upgrades, and they just wait for the boss. But if there's a really easy room, you can get an upgrade early on in the game. It might give you enough of an edge to make it worth it.
Upgrade in the foyer of the pyramid. Everything about this seed is easy so far.
Yeah, it's been pretty generous with the abilities, especially early on.
Eager to see what's coming in the late game to offset all of this good luck at the beginning.
Sorry. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, so Neo here is clearing out Sky Garden. I believe there are 8 items here. Oh no, Neo!
There was health right there.
There was an HP upgrade right there.
Arrogant.
Oh, the hubris. Anyway, so he's going to go back and get that item. But because he has Dark Friar, he can completely clear this place out. Except for the final boss. He needs all 4? I had to think for a minute. All 4 crystal balls in order to get to the boss. And second statue is required in this seed. So we'll see them doing that later. Solar, meanwhile, has found the memory... Oh, wait, no, he hasn't found the memory melody because this is open mode, so that's activated already. So I was talking about open mode earlier. There are 5 items that unlock access to those various continents. In open mode, those are taken out of the item pool and are already set to being activated. And so that means you have access to everything. One of those items is the memory melody, which in the vanilla game is used to restore... Lance's melody in Frisia, and you get it in the diamond mine. In this game, Neil has forgotten how to fly his plane, and so if you play it for him, he can take you around the world, and that's one of the ways that you can access different continents. But again, we won't see that in the game because this is open mode and it's already been activated. what those have been replaced with depends on difficulty. This is normal mode, so I believe most of the 5 items have been taken up with strength upgrades, defense upgrades, and extra herbs. If you play
Neo gets
extreme
the
difficulty,
prison key.
yes. What does the
I
prison
thought
key
it was
do,
a
Ray?
bad idea to go straight to Sky Garden instead of clearing out the towns, but RNG is on Neo's side here.
Indeed, it's yeah. I guess it depends on your confidence in your combat ability, because if you feel like you can survive the dungeons, it might be more efficient not to jump around to a bunch of continents, because it does take a few seconds to go find the person you're supposed to talk to bring you to new locations. If you can just clear out everything in this location, which is what it looks like that's Neo's approach, just clearing out as much as he can in the southeast continent, especially since he has all the abilities to go through the dungeons. We see Solar
Having
taking the
ability
more...
is a great deal. Yeah, he can clear out pretty much every dungeon at this point. He's just lacking items.
Yes. Yeah, for instance, we see Solar here dipping into the prison underneath Edward's castle. He does not have the prison key, so if he wants to do the prison, he'll come back here later. And that's funny, he gets the Mu Palace key, which would be very useful to Neo where he is right now, as he is in fact in the Seaside Palace near Mu.
If only this were a multi-world randomizer.
Man, if only we had a developer on our team that knew ASM well enough to be able to implement
only,
that.
Yeah.
Anytime anybody asks me to do any custom ASM for the game, I'll just say we'll get Raven on that, because Raven, you want to tell him about Gaia the Creator and Mana Freaks community and how we kind of met, because that's really fascinating to me.
Oh well, I don't make Gaia the Creator. Gaia the Creator is entirely Mana Freaks Illusion of Gaia level editor. I just contribute some information to the spreadsheet that he keeps track of what needs to be editable in Gaia the Creator. I guess, when did you start? You started working on Randomizer in August?
It was a little earlier than... Well, I had first had the idea in February of last year. And by had the idea, I was actually looking to see if this game had been randomized, because I'm a big fan of like Zelda randomizers. I mean, just look at my handle, don't bagoo me. I'm a big Zelda 2 randomizer fan. And I just thought of this game because it was one that I played as a kid, and I was like, I wonder if there's a randomizer for this game, and there wasn't. And I just thought, maybe I can create one. I've never done any game hacking before, but I do have a degree in computer science, and maybe I can figure it out. And I would have gotten nowhere at all if I hadn't have found Mana Freak's community and the tool that he built, Gaia the Creator. So shout outs to that guy. GaiaTheCreator.blogspot.com is where you can find out where that is. That just broke wide open the game for me and helped me to learn how this game engine works.
He's been working on that continuously for 6 years or so now.
It's been a while, yeah.
I hopped into the community, which was at that time him and one other person who has since retired. I hopped into that community in mid 2017, I think.
Yeah,
I
I
learned
remember.
65.816 assembly solely for the purpose of disassembling this game.
Mm-hmm.
I am a supreme nerd like that.
Yes, and also this game is awesome, so I don't blame you.
That's true. It is awesome. Just tragically short, which is something that a little assembly code and little level editing can rectify. So
that reminds me, are you still working on, or at least in the back of your mind, working on maybe doing a ROM hack of this game?
Yes, I am. I am working on, several different pieces at several different times. I have
It's the best way to do it.
a whole lot of recent coding time improving the Viper fight. Because I thought it would be really cool if you could fall off the edges of the Viper map and have to dodge him while you fall out of the sky onto the next platform.
Yes, that would
So
be
I've
amazing.
done that.
And is it true that perhaps in the works for this ROM hack, we might actually get to see a jackal fight?
You might actually, yes. You might aspire to see a jackal fight.
People who know this game know that in the storyline of this game, you're being shadowed by this assassin called the Jackal. Apparently was hired by King Edward to I guess follow you or whatever. It's very ominous. You know, they really drop all these hints about don't forget about the Jackal. The Jackal's right on your tail. And spoiler alert for the game, when you meet the Jackal, he's on screen for all of maybe 45 seconds before being set on fire and collapsing into an ashy heap. So
You kill him with the power of song.
yes.
Like, there's not even a fight. You just play a song and he bursts into flame.
Yep.
Disappointing.
So Raven thought, wouldn't it be fun if instead of that happening, you actually had this kind of Kaizo level Jackal fight? And so I 100% support that decision. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing what comes out of that.
I mean, we're going to see Apocalypse Gaia at the end of this seed, and it definitely looks like a Kaizo fight if you just look at it one or two times. But there are patterns, right? There's a strategy for beating Apocalypse Gaia. It looks hard. It's not a Kaizo fight. Jackal ought to be a Kaizo fight.
Yep. So since Apocalypse Gaia came up, for those that are joining this new, this seed will at the end showcase the true final boss of this game, which is Apocalypse Gaia, hidden in the code, never to be seen again until Raven Zero got his hands on it and made it playable and balanced and pretty and all kinds of things. And so we'll get to see that later. No more measly 2-phase vanilla fight. We're now going to get 5 phases of. I just think it's a brilliant fight. I'm a big fan of it.
I mean, 2 of them are measly.
2 of them are, but it becomes unmeasly very quickly after the vanilla fight is over. I haven't actually talked to you about this directly, Raven. How did you find that? What were you looking for? Were you looking for something like that? Did you just happen to come upon it? How did this happen?
Oh. So the code of this game uses the opcode, the O2, followed by something, and that's a function caller. And I was twiddling my thumbs trying to document what the weird cops that I didn't know anything about did. So I was looking up, really control-Fing through the entire ROM, cop, and then one of the unused cop labels to see where is this thing used, so that I can just spawn one of those objects in the game and see what that cop is doing. And I found one of the unused cops in a block of code next to Edward's dungeon objects. And I think you use SNES 9X. BSNES colors bytes in the memory viewer based on whether they've been read or written or executed.
Right.
So even though I've played the entire game multiple times, the bytes that I found that were calling this unused cop were not colored in, which meant they had never been used in my game. And I thought, oh, that's quite weird. I mean, I can see that this is, object code. This isn't data or anything. So why is there object code right next to Edward's dungeon stuff that's never shown up in the game before? And I mean, so I just spawned what turned out to be Apocalypse Gaia in one of the Edward's dungeon rooms. And there it was, yeah.
Very cool. I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. On Neo's screen, we see him fighting the first boss that we get to see today. This is Sandfinger at the end of the Great Wall of China. This is going to give him statue number 4, which is required for this seed, and it'll also give him a healthy number of upgrades. So we'll probably see his health bar go up a little bit after this fight is over. This is a notoriously trolly fight, so we're looking for that egg pattern that we just saw. That up and down pattern right there is the slowest one. We don't want to see a lot of those. And then there's a side-to-side pattern that is slightly less slow. And Raven actually found out that if you stand to the left of one of those grates, then you're more likely to get the quicker of the 2 trolley patterns. So, yep, there's
Just
that.
Slightly more likely. But,
About 25%, right?
Yeah, 25, 25, 50. And the 50 depends on whether you're standing left or right of the grate. And Neo is having terrible luck.
Oh, here we go. Oh, GG. All right, Sandfinger down. 4th Mystic Statue acquired. All right, where are we with the game? I've been so fascinated talking to you about dev stuff.
I have no idea. Solar has made it to Sky Garden.
Indeed.
And he's freezing for some reason.
Yeah, well, he's probably... let's see. On his tracker, does he have Dark Friar or not? Oh, I don't see the abilities on the tracker. So I guess we'll find out if he has Dark Friar. And he can actually clear out this place. All right, so next we have Neo.
He has Dark Friar.
Great. So he'll be able to clear out this dungeon. It's the way that this game randomizes. Again, there's about, I think, 112 items in the item pool. There are red jewels, which take up 45 of those, so roughly like maybe 40% or so. And the rest of them are pretty much key items. There are 12 herbs, so you can throw those out, and there are a handful of stat upgrades, but about half the item pool are key items that either work independently or with other items to unlock other key locations. And so there's a lot of double dipping in a typical randomizer run for this game. You'll see them go into a dungeon to get the first 3 items, and that's as far as they can go, and then somewhere else they find the item that gets them to go farther in that dungeon, so they have to go back. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast with this particular game. With open mode, they have a little bit more control over that because, again, they have access to so many items right off the bat that I think they can be a little bit more judicious with choosing only to go into dungeons if they have that option that they can completely clear out. That way they're reducing the amount of double dipping that has to happen. And looks like so far, from what I've seen from these runners, they're pretty much doing a good job avoiding having to go into dungeons that they can't full clear yet. All right, and here's an example. Neo looked at this screen when he first came in and saw that there was, in fact, a status upgrade. It turned out to be a strength upgrade, which is probably the best that he was hoping to see. Strength upgrades are very nice. And he chose to clear... There weren't many enemies in that room, so he chose to take a little bit extra time to clear it out and to get that strength upgrade for a little bit of combat edge for the rest of the seed. Aberelia says...
You're receiving official thanks.
I see that. You're welcome, Aberelia. It's been my pleasure, absolutely. This has been so much fun. I'm thankful and grateful to the people that are part of the community now and that are playing the game and enjoy it as much as I do. Again, I made this game because I wanted to play a randomizer of this game, and one didn't exist. And I'm like, well, if I make one, then maybe I can play one. And it's been a lot of fun both working on it and playing it and doing commentary like this and watching other people enjoy it.
Do you play the randomizer, or do you just sit around and think up new ways to troll your players?
Why not both? There's some of those things. Yeah, I mean, you have to live a full life. You can't just do one thing.
Sure. You can multitask too. Play the randomizer and at the same time think, you know what would be really annoying, right?
What's that?
If the Dark Friar were behind Solid Arm.
That is possible. That
happened to me earlier today.
That had happened to you earlier today?
I played open world for the first time today to make sure I knew what I was talking about. And Darkfire was behind Solid Arm.
Well,
It
my
was
condolences.
Rage-inducing.
Indeed. So again, Solid Arm is the hidden boss in the game. It's not a required dungeon in the vanilla game. It's something that you have to do when you run 100% of the game. But you need to collect all 50 jewels to do that, and the mansion is very difficult, and it's very hard to get through. But when you get through it, you fight Solid Arm, and you're warped to the top of Babel Tower. And there is one dark space up there, and it could have an ability that you need. I don't think that a seed would require you to fight Solid Arm. I think it could give you the option of doing the boss climb instead. Getting to the top of Babel Tower requires you to solar. Okay, requires you to beat every boss that you've beat so far in the game at a souped-up difficulty. So, but that's really slow. And so for this randomizer, because you have the choice, you can either do the Babel climb, which is slower, but it's slightly easier, and you do get upgrades from beating those bosses. Or you could go to the secret dungeon, fight Solid Arm, which is more risky, and you don't get upgrades, but it is faster. Now, we don't need Statue 6 for this particular seed, so I don't think we'll see anybody fighting Solid Arm. Anaya says, I look forward to the randomized entrances. Yes, I am working on that. And by working on it, I mean setting it down for probably 3 weeks at a time, spending a day going back to it and trying it again, and then putting it down again, because it is very tedious work. Major shout outs to anybody who has done an entrance randomizer for any other game. That is mind-numbing work indeed. All right, what you see Neo doing right now, he's talking to that NPC. There are 11 hints in this game that are scattered throughout, and you can, if you know who to talk to, you can talk to some people, and they'll tell you the location of one item in the game. And usually it's either a key item that you need to beat that particular seed, or it could be an item in a trolley location. For instance, I saw earlier that Solar got a hint in Frisia that the Killer 6, which is one of the hardest rooms in the game, it's in the pyramid, the third room of the pyramid. You have to just kind of kamikaze go after these 6 orbs that are all set up in an array, and there's no way to block their attacks, and it's really hard. You have to go through this really long auto-scroller section to get to that part, and it's really easy to die there. And so they have their special name, the Killer 6, and so he found out that the Killer 6 only has an herb. So we will not see SolarCell attempting to go after the Killer 6 because it has a useless item. All right, and speaking of SolarCell, we have him now fighting Sandfinger, or Trollfinger, as he is sometimes referred to. And we'll see how his fight goes. He will also be getting Statue 4. We saw Neo do this fight maybe 15 minutes ago. Sai990 is insisting that it's pronounced herb, not herb. I disagree. I disagree. Shout outs to Mr. Freet. Mr. Freet and Sai are both mods on my Discord. They were some of the original playtesters, and them together with solarcell007, who we see racing here, as well as DJ Tifa Hart, were the first 4 runners to showcase this randomizer in public. And so as a thank you to them, I gave them, I made custom sprites for them. You can see Solar's will is a little follically challenged. And so that was my gift to him, to thank him for being a part of it. And for Mr. Freets, I gave him a patch that also has a custom sprite, but it also goes through and it changes every instance of you found an herb. It changes to you found a herb. So we freetified all of his seeds. Oh, I see Brian W in the chat. Shout outs to Brian W. He's another developer on the team. He was the one that made it possible for this to be hosted online. If you go to iogr.app, you will be able to play this game. You just need a vanilla ROM of the game, a US version, and you'll be able to upload that, set the seeds to whatever you like, and you can play this right now. Brian was the one that made all that happen. Before then, it was I was using Pi installer to create an executable.
Oh, heaven help us! Solar's the Mew.
Oh, Solar's in Mew.
Buckle up.
I think he has spin dash. Why doesn't he use spin dash in this room? It's so much easier. Anyway,
Hubris.
Hubris yet again. Hubris is such a fun word to say. Hubris.
Hubris.
The bris part's a little uncomfortable, but it's all right. Psi990 calling them Wizrobes. They are not, in fact, called Wizrobes. They are called Flashers. Wizrobes is from another game.
Another game to which this one bears striking similarities.
It would like to think so. Psi990 again is one of the 4 original playtesters of this game, and in his custom version, there's this room called the Room of Hope, where these 4 flashers show up to give you a greeting. And in Psy's version, they say, "Stop calling us Wizrobes, Psy." Yep, here it is. You see it here on Solar's screen. You can see what everybody else gets to see. All this build up for the wild of the mysterious flashers. Hey. Okay, so over on Neo's screen, we see him playing Lola's Melody. In the randomizer, this is used to unlock access to Itori Village, which is in the southwest continent.
Of course, it's also used that way in the vanilla game, too.
It is, but it also has another use, namely, that is the power of music that brings Jackal to his flaming knees. But the way in the randomizer it works, once you play it here, it disappears from your inventory, which leads me to inventory management.
Oh, God.
Let's talk about inventory management. So, there are 16 slots in your inventory.
You're a turkey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was another hint that Neo just got from the flashing old man over there. Not sure what his deal is, but he apparently knows where the elevator key is. So those 16 items fill up real quick and real fast. Even in the vanilla game, if you hold on and you hoard your herbs, it becomes a challenge to even keep all those herbs throughout the game, because there are just so many key items. And it's made worse in the randomizer because you're getting key items all over the place, and you don't necessarily have access to where you can get rid of those. And even if you do, maybe you have to get rid of them on the whole other side of the world, and it's just a big pain in the butt. So we really had to take into account inventory management when we made this rando. And so we made it so that Logic will never give you a key item. It'll never give you more key items than you can either hold or have access to get rid of. That does not include herbs, though. So if the game is especially mean to you, it could force you to discard an herb or two in order to make room for key items. But that's hopefully relatively rare. Okay, so we have Neo here in Inca Ruins, which is the first major dungeon. It's on the southwest continent. In order to access this place,
Neo to find in Inca, Solar appears to have hit a wall in Mew.
Indeed. Yeah, you need 2 statues of hope in order to get through Mew, and it looks like he has only 1. The Mew is kind of like the water temple in Ocarina of Time, where you have you have to lower the water level in order to access new areas, and the statues of hope is what allow you to do that. Anyway, so you need the diamond block in order to get into Inca Ruins, and Neo found it. Oh, and he sees a force here, and there's only a handful of enemies, so he's taken a couple
This is a
seconds.
great room to find a force.
Indeed, yeah.
They're
There's
all
some rooms.
right there. They're in your way already.
Yeah, two of the best rooms, of course, are the first room in Pyramid that only has 2 orbs. He gets an HP upgrade.
too.
Yeah, HP upgrades give you 3 HP, and they only give you 1 HP in the vanilla game, so that makes it a little bit more balanced with the more powerful strength and defense upgrades. So yeah, an HP upgrade is nothing to sneeze at. And the other one is there's one room, the Wind Tunnel in Angel Village, also only has 2 enemies, and you have to pass by them anyway. Over on Neo's screen, we see a room that we never see in a speedrun of this game, because the only reason to come over here is to get the Wind Melody, which reveals in a room full of gold tiles. One of them starts glowing when you play that melody. If you're a speedrunner, you know exactly which one it is, and you don't even need that melody. So this is a long way to go out of the way just for that one item. And you're also supposed to turn into Freedan in order to use his greater reach with his sword in order to kill the statue that you need to progress. However, there's also a speedrunner trick to get around that too. So this is something that you'll only see in the rando, because there is, in fact, you do have to get Freedan over here, especially if you have Slider, because having Slider negates the ability to do that trick. And also because this item over here can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Wind Melody. That's kind of a cool strat that Neo did it there. Solar is in Angkor Wat, which has the best music in the game. I will fight anyone who disagrees with me.
Better than Dark Gaia.
Yeah, well. So this is a very long dungeon, and it does not have... It's the only minor dungeon that has its own dungeon music. All the other minor dungeons use the same stock dungeon music. And this does not have a boss at the end of it. It makes me wonder if the devs wanted to put a boss at the end of this and just ran out of time. Hey, Mr. Freet. Shout out to Mr. Freet. As I predicted, saying Sky Garden is the best music.
The fact that the Angkor Wat music is the same as Memory Melody?
Yes.
Same, yes. Would also suggest that Angkor Wat was originally intended to be a larger dungeon.
Right. And that's an interesting piece of lore. So the memory melody is given to you by Sam, who's a laborer. Yeah, who's a laborer in the diamond mine, and he makes a reference. He says, "The people in my village or in my country are suffering. Please save them." And so it makes me think that maybe he is related to the folks in the natives' village, which is right next to where Angkor Wat is. So maybe that being the same music is kind of a shout out to, in the lore, maybe Angkor Wat is his hometown.
Oh, Solar with the noob strats.
Solar
Earthquaker to get past that golem.
Indeed. So that's the one use of Earthquaker in the game, is getting past that golem. But if you have Dark Friar, you can line up an attack and kill him off screen. There's also ways that you can upgrade Dark Friar, and if you have both upgrades of Dark Friar, then you can actually send a Flaming Firebolt that kills him way easier than even the speedrunner strat. But Angkor Wat is so large, and you'll see him using this mechanic right here of checkpoints. It's so large that it has 2 checkpoints in it. He wants to be Will at this point because he needs Slider and Spin Dash later on. And Spin Dash is also way faster to travel around in. So instead of going all the way back to a dark space, he's just going to Death Warp, and he's going to go right to where he wants to be, which is at this checkpoint that he just set by going through that entrance and coming back.
Neo is struggling to find something powerful enough to kill him right now. That's more than a little amusing.
You're right. So there's a lot of death warping in this game because it's usually faster to death warp to the beginning than it is to walk all the way back. But at this point, this is such an early dungeon, and he has so many upgrades that he's finding it difficult to get Something to get him all the way down
so
to 0.
hard to die sometimes.
Just kill me already. That's hilarious. And those, I believe those enemies are called whirligigs, the disembodied heads that float around, and those just kind of circle around you. They don't actually attack you unless you move. We see Solar here on the left, navigating through this bright room. In Link to the Past, you have dark rooms. In Illusion of Gaia, you have the bright room. There's only one room like this, and you're supposed to have the dark crystal glasses to filter out the light and make it possible for you to see. But again, Solar's a pro at this, so he knows where he's going.
It's only the one room that's bright, too. I would at least have expected them to make every higher room bright. But no, you only have to memorize, like, 2 paths through that room, and that's it.
Yeah, well. In your ROM hack, I expect to see more use for the black glasses. Perhaps maybe even throwing in a boss for Anchor Watt and then having them utilize the brightness.
Oh, that is an excellent idea. I think I
have
might
those
steal
occasionally.
that.
Yeah, maybe even make it a menu boss where you have to switch back and forth between the glasses, because in the vanilla game you actually have to equip and wear the glasses in order to gain their effects. In the rando, you use them once and you're considered to be wearing them the whole time. Oh, Solar, don't die. Don't die. Oh, snap.
Oh, boy.
The hubris again.
And that costs some time.
That did cost some time. Dang, Rambler with the shade. Look at this pro in quotes.
Now, the inventory is a map, just like any other map. It just happens to have a different set of objects on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that means there can definitely be, for instance, if I were just ballpark, a jackal on the inventory screen harassing your pointer while you're trying to select items. Just hypothesizing.
I like to think that I've created sort of a reputation for myself as a bit of a troll master. You, on the other hand, are in a league all your own, my friend.
It's simple, really. Get good.
There it is. You heard it here from the horse's mouth. Get good. Raven 0 2020.
It's the answer to all your problems.
Okay, so Solar finally gets it to the end of Anchor Watt. If Kara was in Anchor Watt, then you would see her picture right there, because Anchor Watt is indeed a minor dungeon, even though it's very large. And yeah, Kara could be there. But we know she's in Diamond Mine because Lance's letter told us.
We are going to be 100%ing the seed, aren't we?
Of course we are. Don't we 100% every seed?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I think I have it set in the logic to where if it knows you're going to do a showcase race,
always a hundo? Yeah.
Always a hundo.
Oh, that means we're going to spend a minor eternity in Mount Crest.
I'm going to take that back, actually. There is... we know from the hints that the Killer 6 has junk, so we won't be seeing Killer 6, unfortunately.
Oh, that makes it more likely we'll have to go to Mount Crest.
Indeed.
Oh, that's not good.
Now, something else trolly that could happen, since we're on the subject of trolls, they are not required to defeat Castoth, the first boss, because they don't need the first statue for this particular seed. They only need 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so, but there is one item that is... we see here Neo using the speedrunner strat to get past this part without using Earthquaker. Yeah, I think once he found Friar, he stopped checking dark spaces, and so... Oh, didn't quite get him. Anyway, so they could need that item. That item could be required, and so they may have to defeat Castoth, even in spite of not having to get his statue. So that's a possible troll.
Mine key on gold ship, for instance, as Rambler suggests.
There you go.
Entirely possible.
That is possible. And would be hilarious.
Hilarious for us. I mean, not so funny for them, but that's the point, right? It's
Well,
all
yeah, I
about
mean-
our entertainment.
Hilarious for us is synonymous with hilarious. Why should I consider other people's points of view? We see Solar there putting all the hieroglyphs in their order. There are 6 hieroglyphs in the game, and they have to go in a specific order. Of course, that order has been randomized. The speedrunners know the vanilla order and don't even bother getting the item that allows them to decode that order. Wow, Neo, that's a cool strat, getting around those floating heads. I might have to steal that. I like
Solar is not going to attempt Mummy Queen right now.
that. It appears not.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, Mummy Queen is one of those bosses that does not block any items. As soon as you defeat her, you just go back to where you started. So there's really no reason to, not to put her off until the very end. Same with the vampires. And in fact, if you're playing a seed where Statue 3 is not required or Statue 5 is not required, those are the vampires and Mummy Queen, you can actually discard the items from your inventory that are used to access them if you want to, in order to make inventory space, because you can't lock yourself out of the game by not fighting them if you don't need their statues. All right, here we have
Steel
Neo.
Gold points out that the game font is a lot like the one used in ActRaiser. There is a reason for that.
And what would that be?
Because this is the same company.
Well, there you have it.
Enix Quintet made Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Terra Enigma, and ActRaiser.
Now, ActRaiser is not typically considered to be part of the same series
It's not
as.
part of the series, no, but they used many of the same engine elements.
Mhm. So there you have it. So we saw Neo. He's going through. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Raven.
Did Solar just now talk to Lola?
Did he?
He
forgot
in her house. Why would he? Really?
He forgot that the other day when he was practicing this too.
Some pro.
I'm gonna have to. So much shade. I
talk
love.
with him.
Holy cow!
Bring out the Cat 09 for that one.
I can't. Okay, I'll have to go back and watch that later. And if so, I'm really gonna have to give him a hard time for
Yeah.
that.
Lose
Anyway.
some steam points there.
So we see Neo going through Angkor Wat. Earlier, he was going through the light room, but he must have found the glasses along the way because the light room was not light, and he's being a little more careful in this part than Solar was. But he's just as much danger. Don't get sniped by that guy. Ooh.
Oh,
Barely made it.
nice.
Well done, Neo. He is indeed the one.
We have a new pro. Okay, Neo did Inca before, and
Yes.
Solar did Angkor Wat before. Where are
Yes.
they going to go next?
Well, let's see.
I
Looking
don't
at their...
know what they have.
Well, it looks like. Oh, Solar must have the diamond block, because he's in the dungeon that requires the diamond block. I'm looking at their trackers, trying to decide what their next play is.
Anne had one Inca statue. that.
They have one.
They're missing the other one.
Okay, I think we're starting to see the point even in an open seed where you have to start making some decisions about double dipping areas. They do have Mount Crest open to them. They have one mushroom drop, which means they can get 3 items there out of the 5. What else can they do? They have the elevator key. I don't think I've seen anybody go. There are 2 items they can get behind the elevator key in Diamond Mine. We might see that, which would be a triple dip into Diamond Mine, because we know they have to go all the way to the end to free Kara.
Have they cashed in the Gorgon flower yet?
Yeah, I think I saw one of them do that. I don't remember what she had though. Oh, New York Rambler saying Solar checked elevator key. Steel Golem, what rando games were you playing before you decided to make this one? That's a good question. I'm a big... I cut my teeth on randomizers with Zelda 2 Randomizer, which you can kind of tell from my handle that I'm a fan of. A Link to the Past rando as well. I did a little bit of Zelda 1 rando just so that I could do the Zelda triathlon, where I did Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Zelda 3 randos back to back. Never doing that again. That took like 7 hours of my life away. I think mostly Zelda I think I played Super Mario World Randomizer once, but yeah, I think that's really the end of it. Mostly Zelda randomizers for me. And Wilden, just to up your trolliness, not possible, can you add a destination for Kara's portrait to go after the Killer 6 as well? That's a good idea. However, my trolliness is only surpassed by my feeling of consistency. I like her being at the end of
everything must be neat and tidy.
Indeed. All right, so Neo is in Mew, which is Solar was here quite a while ago. It looks like Neo is just as equipped as Solar was, with just one Statue of Hope. He needs 2 of them to get access to all of the items in this dungeon, and he needs 2 Rama statues in order to fight the boss after that. And it looks like Solar has 1 Rama statue, but Neo does not have any. Not that it matters much at this point, but we will see some vampire fighting later. Now, what I'm hoping that there's an ability in that last dark space just before the vampires, because that would force them to fight the vampires as will. In the randomizer, if you find the aura, which is the essence of Shadow's body, Shadow is the 3rd fighting form you can unlock, and Shadow is vastly overpowered in lots of ways, especially in early Firebird seeds, which we'll get to, because I believe this is an early Firebird seed. You can fight the vampires as Shadow, which is a much easier fight than fighting as Will. But if there's an ability in that last dark space, then it's too much out of the way to go and turn yourself into Shadow for that fight. So they'll probably just do it as Will, which is much longer and much more dangerous.
That is a very trolly sentiment, and I approve.
Indeed.
Where is Solar going to go now? Oh, Solar has the prison key, doesn't he?
Yes, I don't know if we've seen Neo dip a second time into the prison.
We have not.
Oh yeah, he still has the key in his inventory, so that's something he can do.
Neither of them has Lily yet, so they cannot clear the castle dungeon.
This is true. So what Raven's
stuff in the dungeon.
Yeah, what Raven's referring to is there's a necklace that you can get in the game. We have Neo again desperately trying to kill himself. The necklace is an item that you can give to Lily once you have access to Itori Village, where she lives, and Lily has the ability in the vanilla game to turn into a dandelion and ride in your pocket. And so if you find her lost necklace and return it to her, then she will accompany you for the rest of the game, and that opens up an additional... there's one extra item that you can get in the Seaside Palace, and it also allows you to progress all the way through the prison dungeon, which is where Solar is right now.
Hey.
Wilden asking, can we purposefully make the Trollia seed possible for a showcase, please? Well, if you're following the Strong's theory of randomizers, then you'll realize that every seed is its maximum possible trollingness. But if you're more of a Keynesian guy, then yeah, you can try to beat the market, so to speak.
What would be an especially trolly seed? I'm sure Darkfire behind. I'm sure something behind Solid Arm would be involved.
Yes,
and
that's
cast talk required, even though statue 1 isn't required.
sure, but cast talk's not that difficult of a fight, so that's more of an
Not
inconvenience
difficult,
than an
it's
actual
just
troll.
tedious.
Indeed.
Takes what, half an hour out of the way.
But I'm sure you can maximize the double and triple and quadruple dips by just making the player go back and forth. Before I got into making randomizers, I would make custom A Link to the Past Plando seeds for my friends, in quotes, because they're very trolly.
Corvus Mysticus aptly points out that if you front load all of the HP upgrades, you could give so much health to the players that death warping becomes, extremely tedious.
Yeah, see that's the next level trolling that I'm looking for
That's
from
so
you, Raven.
subtle. So
That's what I want to see more of. Okay, so we have Solar here. He's apparently found all 4 crystal balls and is now fighting Viper, who is the guardian of the second Mystic statue. At his
Solar
stats
could
and
fall off that platform right now. Wouldn't that be awesome?
that would be awesome. Someone else had the idea that there's a second phase of the fight where you jump to the bottom side of this platform and you fight the dark version of Viper. Just put that in your ear for later.
Neo with the noob strats. Okay, what's next? Neo has 0 Rama statues.
This is true. He does have a prison key that he has not utilized, so we might see that next.
Solar, having cashed in the prison key, I guess is just wandering aimlessly, picking up this and that and hoping for a progression item. Neo, once again, trying desperately to kill himself and failing.
Well, at least he found a place where he can take a little bathroom break while his character dies. He doesn't have to move around very much. That's one of the things I enjoy about playing it. It's kind of the harder difficulties is that death warping becomes much, much faster. And we have Solar
now
doing
Solar
the same
will
thing.
experience it. Oh boy. I could feel the frustration.
Note to self, make sure all showcase races are at least at hard difficulty, period.
Oh, but hard Apocalypse Gaia is... Hard Apocalypse Gaia is difficult to watch.
Speaking of Apocalypse Gaia, or at least Apocalypse Gaia adjacent, let's talk a little bit about early Firebird. And I'm putting early in quotes, by the way. You can set a setting on this randomizer to give you early Firebird, which means if you fulfill all of the requirements, you can use the Firebird attack in regular dungeons. In the vanilla game, you only see the Firebird show up on the final map when you fight Dark Gaia. But in early Firebird seeds, if you rescue Kara and acquire the crystal ring, which it looks like they haven't found yet, but if they're able to do those things, then every time they use Shadow's form, they can just slaughter with the Firebird attack in normal dungeons, and that's a lot of fun to see. You can also use them on bosses too, which is a lot of fun, especially with Mummy Queen.
Oh, Neo has entered that one dungeon.
Yes, the dungeon of whom we do not speak. So this is Mount Temple.
It's
neither
not a
Mount nor
mountain.
Temple.
It's
not
not
a temple either. Yeah, but yeah, it's a thing. It's fine. He's gonna get.
It's an acid trip. That's all it is.
All right, so he's going through this maze. He has access to 3 items out of the 5. If he finds a mushroom drops here, then he can get one additional item per mushroom drop.
And Neo finds a herb.
And herb.
And herb.
There you go. Best of both worlds. Make everybody happy. Oh yeah, someone was asking about Firebird. And you called out that vanilla Firebird is hard coded in the last map, so that if you get to the last map as Will's flute shoots out Firebird attacks. That's fun. What are some other fun, like, interesting things about the coding of this game that you've discovered in your tenure as a as a delver into
what
all
qualifies
things?
as interesting exactly? I have invested obscene amounts of time into this code base, so I find even the most trivial nuisances interesting.
All right. Well, I'll stop
I like
you
the
if
difficulty setting. There is a difficulty setting implemented that is not actually used.
Really, I did not know that.
Its only effect is to change the damage and intensity of some ranged attacks, like the number of rocks that the golems in Mew throw in their rock throwing attack. The difficulty setting controls that. Or the damage that you take from the golden statues in the Inca Ruins. But you can't change the difficulty setting. It's fixed. There was something they intended to do with it. I could not tell you what they intended to do with it.
Yeah, there are lots of little idiosyncrasies about that where you can just only scratch your head and just wonder what the devs were thinking. Speaking of what were the devs thinking, we have Solar fighting Mummy Queen on the left side of your screens. This is the boss of the pyramid, the guarder of the 5th Mystic statue, and this is a required fight for the seed.
Speaking of what were the devs thinking? That's your lead-in to Mummy Queen?
I am a master of segues.
Mummy Queen is the least bad of the vanilla boss fights.
High praise indeed. Mr. Freed is bugging us to... what is he bugging us to do?
Oh,
something about Flaming Hamlets.
Flaming Hamlets?
Yeah.
Everybody wants Flaming Hamlets.
Everybody, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be
Can we get a Dark Gaia that shoots with Will that shoots Hamlets? There you go. That's what he wants.
Dark Gaia with Will that shoots... Okay, sure. Well, get on that then.
We'll add that to the list.
Put it on the
I won't tell
pile.
you whether it's the list of things we're going to take seriously or the list of really dumb suggestions that people make, but we'll add it to a list. That much
I
we
only
promise
have
you.
so many hours in my increasingly finite life. I might find time for that eventually.
Ah, man, the way you phrased that really made me just viscerally feel my own mortality. You said increasingly limited.
Would you like to guess how many of my hours have already expired? I'll give you a hint. It's approximately 40%.
Of your life?
Yes, approximately 40% of my hours have already expired.
Well,
Yep.
On that happy note, rip Mummy Queen, Solar Cell making as quick work as can be expected from the Mummy Queen boss. In the meantime, we have Neo finding the crystal ring in Jeweler's Mansion.
Oh, nice.
Which doesn't really help with progression, but it does get him one step closer to possibly us seeing early Firebird actually being used. The reason why I put early Firebird in quotes is because even in early Firebird seeds, it's quite rare that you would actually fulfill all the requirements before going to meet the final boss. So we don't get to see it very often, but when we do get to see it, it is immensely satisfying.
But now Neo has the power. Solar has three mystic statues.
Yes, he does. Where I wonder where that last crystal ball is that is preventing Neo from fighting Viper at this point. And it looks like he's also missing a hieroglyph to meet the Mummy Queen.
That's okay. I bet you a lot of the time difference will be made up on Apocalypse Gaia. With
Yes.
Solar being a speedrunner and Neo not. Speedrunners have a hard time with Apocalypse.
They do, because they tend to value speed over safety. And Apocalypse Gaia seems uniquely crafted in such a way to reward patience. I'll just put it that way.
It's a very cerebral fight.
Okay, so it looks like Neo is going into the prison now. He does not have
first
Lily.
time.
Yes.
Scrambled
Well, I mean for the. Oh yeah, this is for the first time. He hasn't even gotten this item from Hamlet yet. And look at all those herbs. Tell us what happens to herbs in the Apocalypse Gaia fight.
You get them
Wheeler.
back if you die to the Apocalypse phases.
Yes.
Because
So
playtesters found it infuriating to get to the last phase, having used all of their herbs, and then die and not get those herbs back.
Mhm. Neo picking up another easy upgrade from that 3 enemy room.
Solar did not. Solar did not even check.
Yeah. So Solar, the hubris. That's the theme for today's run.
The theme is
hubris.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We know that Killer 6 has junk, so Solar is just exploring the pyramid in the hope of finding... What is Solar? Rama statue. Solar's exploring the pyramid in the hope of finding a Rama statue, right?
It looks like oh wait, he does have both statues of hope. But they both have both statues of hope. It's hard to see that 2 on there.
Yeah, they've used both statues of hope. Come on, keep up.
Gotcha. Sorry, I talk too much. You know this about me.
You can talk and look at the same time, right?
Okay, well, I'm calling that the final Rama statue is going to be on the gold ship. That's my prediction.
I hope so.
and my hope. Now, the pyramid has a whopping 12 items in it. Shout outs to Mr. Freet as solarcell rips that strategy right there. Oh gosh. Well, oh yeah, okay, so the pyramid has 12 items, which is roughly 10% of the entire item pool of the game. So Solar is hoping that the pyramid has what he's looking for here, which is that single Rama statue, so that he can face his nemesis, Apocalypse Gaia. Neo, on the other hand, is also looking for that Rama statue. It looks like he found that 4th crystal ball, I imagine, in the prison. And he needs one more hieroglyph, and that's go mode for Neo. Now, neither of them have rescued Kara yet. So actually that adds to our go mode items, because we need both mind keys. And they only have one. So they both... Okay, so it looks like Solar's looking for a mind key and for... whatever we said before that he needed. Raven, help me out. Co-commentator. Yeah, whatever you just said. Okay, so Solar just got the necklace, which means he can go get Lily in Atoria Village if he wants to. So we might see a triple dip into prison if what he needs is not here in the pyramid. Oh, and we see Neo double dipping into diamond mine before getting the mine key that would allow him to full clear it. Now, if he finds the mine key in one of these 2 items that he can check, then that's good news for him. He will have made a good gamble here, because he wouldn't go anywhere else looking for the mine key. Oh, there's his last
Here's
hieroglyph.
Solar with the Bagu strats.
Oh yeah, yeah. We found a new. Again, shout outs to Mana Freak for this one, because I wouldn't have found this if I hadn't have been looking at and studying the maps in Gaia the Creator. And in both this map and in the following map, I saw these long off screen. I found these long vertical corridors, and I'm like, what are these for? And I started poking around in that map and found out that if you fall down on these tiles twice, then you can actually fall down. It ends up being quicker to do it with Will than it is to do it the traditional way in the speed run, which is to change into shadow and melt through the floors. So there's my.
Here's some tedious dev trivia for you. I looked at the code for those columns, the shafts that appear in the floor. The developer who built those shafts apparently didn't realize that there's a memory address that contains your current form. The developer decided that to check whether you were playing as Will, Shadow, or Frieden, you had to check what memory address the sprite data was coming from.
Holy cow! Really? Just look at 84. That's where it is.
Right? But it is possible that that gimmick, the shaft appearing gimmick, was developed before the player's form memory was established.
Well, does that check for form? Can you only do it? I thought you could do it in all 3.
It does check for form, yes. One of them is prohibited. I don't remember which one.
Probably shadow. New York Rambler says go mode. Did we find the final mine key? Because I know he looks. Oh, yep. He must have. All right, so we have
Shadow can't
solar.
break floors, Mr. Freak points out.
Okay. That kind of makes sense. I'm glad they made that convoluted and roundabout check. All right, so we have Neo fighting Viper right now. We have Solar going into the mansion for I don't know why. Oh, probably just to get to Dow. Because he needs to fight. He needs to go to Mew. And he also needs to go to... Oh yeah, he's getting around. Okay, so Diamond Mine now. He's going to go rescue Kara. And we're not going to get to see early Firebird from Solar, so that's disappointing because he never found the crystal ring. But if Neo goes to rescue Kara before going to, say, fight Mummy Queen, then we might get to see some early Firebird in that fight, which would be lovely. Okay, but everybody get ready to see the true hero of the Illusion of Gaia randomizer on solarcell's screen, Samlet the Blue Pig. This is everybody's favorite pig. Sorry, Hamlet, but it's true. And the reason why this is the way it is because of the way that sprite sets work in this game. If you put Kara's picture on the screen, you have to change all of the sprites on that. Yeah, there he is, showing off Samlet.
It's Inca A.
Inca A.
You can fight Cast-Off now.
There, we will not be seeing that. He's trying to decide what's the quickest way to die. And so the laborers that typically show up on that thing are, of course, a different sprite set than Kara's portrait. And so, but I couldn't just take them out because one of them gives you an item. So what do? It's like, well, Hamlet is on the same sprite set as Kara's portrait. So why don't we just say that Hamlet is hanging out with Kara and Hamlet gives you the item? Well, I'm colorblind and I didn't notice that something wonky happened with the palette, so that when I did that, it turned Hamlet blue. And so thus we got Samlet.
And the world was a better place as a...
Indeed. Everyone's life got a little lighter. All right, Neo going in to fight Mummy Queen, while Solar is off to go fight the vampires. I don't think we've seen whether or not that dark space that I mentioned before has an ability or not. It would just add insult to injury if it was Aura Barrier would.
That would be delightful. That would be a delightful.
Mm. New York Rambo says at least they can fight the vamps as free Dan. I've actually tried fighting the vampires as free Dan. I think it's easier to do it as Will. I mean, there's probably some better strats that you could use as free Dan, but I really like getting to use Will's jump attack for those.
Freedom has attack bonus. He does 2 damage instead of 1, but Will's abilities make him literally harm.
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off.
All right. Well, it looks like Solar didn't even bother changing forms. He's just going in as Will. Just going for it, using those any % speedrunner strats. And he can tank several hits because he's so overpowered at this point that it's not much danger to him. Something interesting about this fight is that you have Jack and Sylvana, I believe is her name. If you defeat the woman first, Jack says, "I'll avenge her. How dare you?" If you kill the male vampire first, she says, "I'm glad he's gone. I always hated that guy." So it's kind of funny.
Neo gets Mummy Queen.
Yep, Mummy Queen down. GG Neo. And about the same time, Solar is chasing around the vampire, hoping to get a few hits in. Oh! One more hit. There he goes. All right, we now have our third Mystic Statue from Solar. All right, so now all that's left for Solar to do is to go find Gaia in any dark space. And once you have all the requirements, then Gaia will send you to go fight Apocalypse Gaia. And it looks like fastest one is over here in Seaside. And so here he goes.
Neo, meanwhile, still to find the second Rama statue so that he can fight the vampire.
Yeah, and I believe that's in room 2 or something like that. All right, so let's see.
Gaia, yes.
Let's see what quote we get from Solar. We get a random quote here as he prepares to go fight. Haha, my favorite one. Spoon! Someone tell me what that's from.
I could not tell you what that's from. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
really? Oh, Ray,
deficient.
you let me down. Somebody knows. Somebody knows which superhero says that.
Might it be the Tick?
Deadless PGD with the win. Oh, no. We had, just before that, we have Rasta MP Hunt with the Tick, which is the correct answer. Okay, so we see here the final fight on Solar Cell's screen. He's right now fighting the Comet, which is the first phase of the vanilla fight. Soon he will fight Dark Gaia, the second phase, and then the fight is normally over. But in this version, we get 3 more phases that were hidden in the code, and that Raven Zero, who is co-commentating with me at this very moment, has uncovered and made playable. So I'm going to stay silent through most of this fight. I'm going to let Raven take the lead with commentating here, since he's the genius behind uncovering this particular gem.
Well, we're starting off with whatever on Earth is happening with the comet here. This is unspeakably tedious. Dark Gaia.
The spam boss.
The spam boss. Not everybody knows that you can block those green orbs. You know, if you don't block those green orbs, the fight gets a whole lot harder.
Can we make it so that those orbs are not blockable, Raven?
Yes, anything is possible. Would there not be open revolt and rioting in the streets if we made those orbs not blockable?
Do we care?
I mean, I'm not in a mood to be publicly crucified right now.
Okay, well, you just tell me where in the code I need to go to make it happen, and I'll take the flag for it.
It would be a 1 byte change. It would be a 1 bit change because there is a single bit that controls whether they're blockable. Okay, and then with that tedium out of the way, the apocalypse begins. Starts off, you know, a lot like Dark Gaia, just substantially more psychotic. Unblockable energy damage and some psycho bubbles hunting you down.
I'm a fan of the Psycho Bubbles. I think they look nice.
I'm a fan of the psycho bubbles. They look like graphical glitches, but they're not. The code actually, you know, edits their palette like that in real time.
Oh, I didn't know that. I assumed that was just, like you said, a graphical glitch. I
It's
didn't know
not a
it was
glitch.
intentional.
It's not something I did. There is really, like, there is a graphical effect spawned by Apocalypse Gaia that makes the bubbles flicker like that.
All right, here's my favorite phase.
Yeah, Solar with the pro strats now.
Yeah,
It looks like bullet hell, but it is not. Everything is timed, everything is telegraphed. You just have to be aware of the timing and respond to the telegraphing. And get out of the way when rain of fire is over you. I mean, so that's basic, right?
all right, so there's phase 4 down. Now we have the float like a butterfly, sting like a bee phase.
Incredulity in the comments on the stream about whether this was actually in the code. Yes, in fact, it was. There were bugs. It was slow because it was developed so early in the development process that they didn't know quite what the engine was capable of yet. But yes, this was in the code.
Oh, and the music gets faster. I don't remember if that was intentional by you or if that was a happy
The
accident.
getting faster was not in the code. That was one of my few utter fabrications because I made a typo in the code at one point that caused the music to speed up, and I thought that actually sounds quite nice. I think that I will keep the effect of that typo in place.
A very happy typo.
I'm very happy trees. Yes, there are no mistakes. There are only happy typos.
Yes. Just add some little happy typos over here. You know, they just kind of live here next to this lake. Just, you know, they have just little happy lives.
Solar doing quite well with this fight so far.
Mm-hmm. It is normal difficulty, which allows him to tank some hits. At harder difficulties, not only do the hits pack much more of a wallop, but you are also denied certain upgrades, status upgrades in the item pool.
And the
so this
herbs
fight-
heal less at higher.
And the herbs heal less. And so all of these factors make the jump from normal to hard quite substantial, and hard to extreme even more so.
I would not fight Apocalypse Gaia on it. I recommend against it.
I also do. I learned the fight on extreme because I wanted to make sure that it was beatable at that difficulty. And so part of my
It's
comments,
so perfect reflex, maybe.
yeah, and a little bit of luck. It does. Oh, GG.
Oh, nice.
There we have it. Good game,
One
Solar Cell.
attempt, and Solar gets Apocalypse Gaia.
there we have it. So that was the Apocalypse Gaia fight. I'm a huge fan. I just feel like the pacing is just really on point, Raven. I'm really a fan of what you did with it, and I know that a lot of it came from the developers, but as far as the balancing of it, that was kind of up to us. And I think you have that that phase 3 I think is a nice easing into kind of the bullet hell, which is phase 4, and then phase 5 is just like your nerves are already frayed after that last just ridiculous phase, and just trying to keep your head about you and bob and weave and try to take your shots when you can. It's just really cool.
But you can't rush it, because if you try to rush any part of that fight, you will die.
Indeed.
Oh, hey, that's my name.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Solar. Good game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Neo is currently going to rescue Kara. So we'll get to see some early Firebird when he fights the vampires. So that'll
Awesome.
be... Yeah, because he was able to find the crystal ring. I'm not sure where that was. But...
Is Neo being a better showcase and showing what the death message is? Because I completely missed that.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that. We were geeking out on other stuff, but yeah.
What is the death message? I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know either. Maybe we'll see it now when... Well, let's see. Neo's so overpowered at this point. I don't even know if he's going to try a death warp or just try to run out.
Wow,
Yeah,
he does have a lot of HP.
He's just running out. It's probably faster at this point. Anyway, so yeah, every seed has its own random death quote. I think I have over 50 at this point, and you can collect them all for a commemorative pin. But yeah, so every time you play the game, when you die, you get a different real life quote having something to do with death. Speaking of custom,
all real life.
Speaking of custom quotes,
Turbo
we have
the
some,
dog.
we have some nice custom text happening on Solar's screen. Fan favorite stuff.
Poor pig.
Poor Hamlet.
Bagu, I hope you enjoyed me going back to kill that one laser orb that sniped me down the hallway.
Oh, I don't know if I noticed that, but I did notice an unfortunate death in Anchor Wat.
Oh, we don't even need to talk about that. Who the heck dies in Anchor Wat right there?
That's right. Neo had some trouble there too, and we were like, "Come on, Neo, don't pull a Solar."
Wow. Okay, I see how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So how did his run go?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, he's going to fight vampires now with Firebird. Which did you check that dark space before the vampires? Whether there's an ability there or not? You just went right in with Will.
Yeah, I just figured I'd just go for it. I don't know if the timer on the bomb counts down faster than actual seconds or not, but I figured I'd just lose time trying to transform into Shadow. With how overpowered you are in normal, just try to will it up.
Okay, well let's look over at Neo's screen and see if, because he's coming up on it now. Let's see if he can change into Shadow here and give us a taste of some early Firebird. Oh, we're in luck.
Nice. It took me a few dark spaces to realize, I don't need to check anymore in towns because I already have the 2 moves I need, and it's completable mode, so you're not going to have any freedan moves in dark spaces in towns.
Yeah, this seed is very generous with it.
It worked out in the end.
Hmm. Yeah. All right, my stream is cutting out, so I can't see Neo's what he's doing. But...
Cut for me too.
Oh, okay.
Here we go.
All right, so let's see how trivial vampires are with Firebird enacted. Everybody who hated these as a kid, join in the satisfaction that is going to be this fight.
It's glorious.
Oh yeah, 1 down. I'm guessing 112 is going to be the final time on that bomb.
It'd be much faster than mine.
Oh, 2 seconds off. Cool. Well, that was fun to watch.
Very nice.
An early
Very
Firebird with actual early Firebird.
Where,
Okay, Raven, help me remember. What was the thing about Solar? Did you forget to talk to Lola again?
He forgot to talk to Lola.
Yeah, I did. I did that when I practiced an open world earlier this week. I completely forgot about Lola.
and we told everybody about that.
But I was thinking, I was in like game mode this entire run, and I was thinking, okay, did I miss anything while I was running? I did it again.
You used Earthquaker on the Golem in Angkor Wat.
Yeah, I didn't really want to show off Billy Fryer. Accidentally, I also used Earthquaker jumping down in Great Wall, too.
I saw that. That was kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have...
Ring was in the mansion, then?
the ring was in the mansion. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. I was really pulling for gold ship to have what you guys needed.
Oh, I thought about that. You monster. Why would you even wish that on somebody?
Do you not know me at all?
Or to lulz.
I'm almost offended, Solar.
I'm sorry.
If you don't know me by now, back me up, Raven. You will never know me.
No, I will not.
Ooh.
Ross Vamp Hunt. We only needed 4 statues for this run, so...
Yes,
what 4 we needed.
Yeah, when you roll a seed in this randomizer, you can specify how many statues you want to go for. Lower statue amounts make for maybe faster, but they're also riskier because you're not getting the stat upgrades from beating the bosses. You can also set it to a random value, so if you like ultra random, you can just have it tell you how many statues to get. But this is a 4 statue
statues is about the level where it becomes basically 100%.
This was a very generous seed in the fact. I mean, I didn't have to go into Mount Crest at all. I don't know what Neo did.
He did go into Mount Crest, yeah.
He chose poorly, yes.
Well, just call it luck at that point, but very pleased about not having to go in there.
Yeah, Sai's asking if you can plug the Discord. Please do. All are welcome. More the merrier. We have a great community. The nicest people you ever meet in the IOG Discord. Come and ask your questions. There are no stupid questions, only stupid people. Just kidding. But yeah, come on by. And again, if you want to play this randomizer, iogr.app is the website that you can go to. You need a US version of the ROM. Once you upload that, you are free to go off to the races and try this yourself. Some things to help new players that we didn't get to showcase in this race. If you start on easy mode, there is a room. The room in South Cape, just to the right of Will's house, is actually an overworld map. It's like an in-game tracker where you can walk around the map and it'll tell you for every area how many items are available, how many dark spaces are available, and how many items that you collected. So that'll help you kind of get a feel for where everything is. If you look on YouTube for Illusion of Gaia Randomizer tutorial, I have a tutorial video up where I walk through all the items. And again, the Discord is a great community. We'll help you through all this stuff. We just all love the game a lot, and we love for people to enjoy the game as well.
The README also contains a lot of useful information. Nobody actually reads it, but it contains for instance, the fact that you have to use the aura to get Shadow's form.
Yeah, well, reading's for nerds. Alright, so there's the vanilla Dark Gaia fight over. But it's not over. We get to see Apocalypse Gaia yet again.
I feel like a scrub for how many herbs I used on this fight.
You should.
It's normal, man. It's normal. How dare I?
Well, normal gives you that sense of security that you can tank hits, and you don't have
I was running into everything. I was not afraid of anything, and then Angkor Wat definitely put me in my place.
Which is how hubris became the theme of this episode.
Yeah.
Yes. The word of the day is hubris. All right, one floating ahead of Nightmare Town, one to go. All right, Solar. GG again. Any thoughts about the run? About kind of what your strategy was? It seemed like your strategy was go for all the towns first, get as many items as you can. Neo had more of so you had more of a depth first search. Neo had more of a breadth first search, where he was sticking to continents and clearing as much as he could.
Mm-hmm.
Is this your only your second open world seed?
Yeah, this is my only second one. So the one I practiced earlier this week kind of gave me an idea of just exactly how much I had open to me. So yeah, I went to towns first. I like doing that in the first seed I tried.
Yeah,
and then
use
just
the
from
herbs,
that,
Neo.
whatever. Oh, he's freaking me out.
Okay. The herbs come back to you. Use them.
Approach.
Neo, don't try to be a hero.
Oh my gosh,
You're killing me, dude.
I'm freaking out, man.
Zutala! Maybe if I say it in French, he'll catch on.
Sacre bleu. So yeah, I went through all the towns.
Please
and then
use herbs. Please use
Come
herbs.
on!
after I got Slider, I knew I could at least complete Angel Village. So that was the first dungeon I went to.
Oh, thank God.
And then from there, it was just kind of whatever I had more access to, I went to first.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Solar, I wasn't paying attention.
No, that's perfectly fine. I was finishing that thought, and now I'm going to watch this fight.
Oh, it's so much fun. I was fangirling pretty hard over Raven's work on this.
I'm assuming you guys mentioned how the music speeds up the more heads he pops up.
Yes.
I prefer the early alpha versions of this, where you don't reset the speed after you die in this phase, so it just keeps getting faster and faster and faster and faster. I think we should bring that
Is
back.
this music supposed to be that fast all the time? It will be now.
It was just a little incongruous to have music this fast while you were fighting the comet again.
Good on Neo, though. He wanted to give a good show. He didn't need to heal in Phase 4.
Yeah, that was a good show. Mad respect.
And everybody unclenched at the same time.
Queen Anne taking issue with my flawless French earlier.
Oh, she's probably yelling at me for my Sacre Bleu.
Oh, Sacre Bleu. I always thought that was the name of a blue cheese dressing. But put me some Sacre Bleu there on my salad there, and good to go, man.
You got this, Neo. Come on.
Oh yeah, he
2 hits left.
did he use up all his herbs, or does he have one in reserve?
Used up all his herbs, yes.
Well, no reason not to. I mean, go for it. Yeah, this phase of the fight really is a test in patience, because it tracks the head tracks your vertical position, and so
my gosh!
so if you try to get up to the top and just spam, she's gonna react by getting out of reach. So you have to go down.
GG.
Come on. There we go.
Woof. I can't watch that.
There we go. All right, let's see if we can get Neo in here. Oh, how fun.
Hour 29, hour 43. Good times.
Yeah, really good
Those
times.
are good times. I feel like 2 hours is typically pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess open world makes it a little less bottlenecky.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. We haven't had a lot of testing with open world to really get good, normal times for him. But Neo, good game, my friend. If that doesn't say it all, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a fun fight to watch, Neo.
Yeah, well done.
I may
you
need to try to train it again a bit more.
But you
I
did
thought you did
die.
We were just yelling at you during phase 4. Use herbs. Use herbs. You're down to 1 hit. What are you thinking? Good gracious. Well, that's fun to watch, though. So
What'd you think, Neo? How'd your run go?
Oh, like every time I left Pyramid to the end, and Gomod was here, so.
I know it's hard. It's hard for there not to be an item in Pyramid because again, there's about 10% of the items are in that one dungeon alone.
Yes, but I hoped I could have Firebird before going to the Pyramid.
Oh, that would have been fun. That would have been so
But
fun.
the
But we
second
know.
key was in the Pyramid, so nope.
Yeah. We got to see Firebird in the vampire fight though, and that was very satisfying to everyone who ever died to that boss kid.
Yes, at least I had it there, but.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. Again, that was open mode, so it looks like those tended to lead to shorter seeds because you have access to more items in the beginning. The 5 items that we didn't get to see, by the way, were Lola's letter, which teaches you Morse code, and that allows you to speak to Seth, who is still in sea monster form, and that's how he communicates, and so he can take you around the world. Don't ask, it's part of vanilla. And there's the teapot, which you can use to free the souls of the Moon Tribe near South Cape, and they can take you up to Sky Garden early, and you can use that as a mode of transportation. Memory Melody I talked about already. That lets Neil remember where how to fly his plane. He can ride you everywhere. The Will allows you to use Crux to get between Watermia and Euro, and the Large Roast. Sorry to everybody who is a fan of the raft sequence in the vanilla game. That's gone in the randomizer. Everyone who likes that, I'm sorry to say you're just objectively wrong. It's gone. And instead, we use the Large Roast, and you can give it to one of the natives village folks, and they can take you to Dao. And so in open mode, those items don't show up at all. They're already activated at the beginning, and you can get pretty much anywhere from the top. So what did we think of Solar? You don't normally play at normal difficulty. What did you think about some of those death warp sequences?
Oh my gosh, it took forever.
I could feel the frustration.
I was losing my mind. If you could tell, I was kind of shining the flute back and forth while I was waiting to die, just out of frustration.
Mm-hmm. I've been asked to put in like a cyanide pill item in the inventory that you can use to instant death warp, but I haven't gotten around to it.
Yeah, we never got that.
Would be great.
That'd be fun though.
It was a good choice on your part, Neo, running out of diamond mine at the end. It was going to take way too long to death warp.
Yeah, those are the kind of decisions that, yeah, you got to make. Any other thoughts, Neo, on your run? We mentioned this Solar. It seemed, looking at your strategies, that because the seed was so generous with abilities in the beginning, you were able to full clear, or relatively full clear, Diamond Mine and Sky Garden in the beginning, and so you pretty much just hung out in the southeast continent and cleared out as soon as you could. Solar's strategy was more visiting all towns all around the world, dungeons. But I kind of liked your strategy because it was less, movement around. So that was just an interesting thing we noticed about.
Yes, it was because I had the abilities. I went there because I kind of knew Solar would go around the world, so I chose to go where he was not going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
And that way, if anything was there, I'd have an advantage. And but
well, I liked
wasn't enough.
I liked the open mode from a showcase perspective because it really did. You guys really branched early on as far as where you went, and so when in a normal seed, you're normally kind of bottlenecked, especially in the early game. That races tend to go pretty predictably. So it was a nice change of pace to see you have the freedom to be able to branch out in different strategies. So that's kind of fun. Anybody want to showcase Regial Madness next time?
No.
I'm sure there will be plenty of volunteers.
So Regial Madness, for those that don't know, shout outs again to Mr. Freet. The suggestion is always made by people who are new to the stream, it's like, or new to the game, getting red jewels becomes almost like white noise at some point, because again, there's 45 items that give you red jewels, and you can't really use them all until you get to the different parts where you can turn them into the jeweler, and so it's kind of boring. You don't feel like you're really progressing, and so Mr. Freet made the suggestion: what if we made it so that every time you start with full health, and every time you turn in a red jewel, your health goes down by 1? And I said, that's just crazy enough that it just might work. And so that's what Red Jewel Madness is. You start the game with full HP, and as the game goes on, as you turn in red jewels, you end up losing permanent HP. So in the late game, you have 3 HP, and it's really interesting. It's a lot of fun, and it's actually possible to put yourself in an infinite death loop. You can remove all the HP from yourself, and then you just keep dying and dying and dying, and that's kind of humorous. If you want to see that happen, you can look back at my stream from maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. that happened to me. Anyway, any other parting thoughts? I guess that's Illusion of Gaia Randomizer. Thank you all for watching and for sharing the experience with us. We're going to try to maybe do these more often. Maybe have there have been talk of tournaments, maybe more showcase races. Again, join the Discord if you can. I know that Sai put in a link a while ago. Maybe we can do that again. Please join the community. We'd love to have you. You can play the game at iogr.app. Make sure to read the README, because there's a lot that we had to change about the game in order to make it randomizer friendly. Other than that,
when are we getting an entrance randomizer?
Let's see. At the pace that I'm going, I project 2027. It's so, yeah, I was saying this earlier. I'm working on entrance now, and I think that's the last big addition that I plan to make to the game. We do have Randomizer that's in beta, and it will always be in beta, because the way that the game engine works is not really conducive to a true Randomizer, and it's just held together with duct tape and ribbon. So I think that's just the way it's going to be. It's still fun, so I recommend you giving that a shot. And I'm working on Entrance Shuffle, and we'll see how that goes. It's quite tedious, and yeah, I'm working on it. Guys. Get off my back.
No. What results now?
All right, lightning round. Raven Zero, any parting thoughts from you?
When are we getting entrance rando?
Okay, next, Solar, any parting thoughts from you?
And just thank you, Bagu and Raven, for doing commentary. Neo, thank you so much for the race.
Cool. Wasn't fishing for that, but I appreciate it. And Neo, any parting thoughts from you?
I think the next showcase should be a bingo race.
A bingo race. That's a new thing. I didn't even mention that. So Neo has been developing bingo cards for this. It's on Bingo Sync, right? Is that correct?
Yes, it's in Bingo Sync. Second version is coming soon.
Yeah, I got a hold of his list of objectives, and I trollified it to the nth degree. So that should be fun. So yeah, we have IOGR Bingo is now a thing. Join the Discord for more information. Thank you to New York Rambler for tracking. That's not easy to do, because you go through those text boxes so quickly. It's sometimes hard to see what you got. So thank you, Rambler, for doing that. Thank you, Raven, for co-commentating with me. This is so fun, geeking out with you over the game and just hearing, things that I'd never heard about your perspective from, just hacking into the game. solarcell007, Neomatamune, make sure to give those both a follow. Do we have a runner command that we could put in chat? There we go. Follow the runners, Solarcell and Neo. Go do that now. They're both incredible. Neo is a bilingual runner. He does French and English. Solar, unfortunately, is just English, but maybe we'll pay for him to take some classes at the community college or something. But anyway, so long, everybody. Good night. Thanks for all the fish. and everybody have a good day. And thanks again to Speed Gaming for restreaming this and hosting it. We love getting this in front of more people and just raising awareness for the project. So thank you, everyone. Take care.